one more. Different situation. Same street, Young Street. There was a preacher man on Young Street who had just got out of jail, and he'd been a pimp. He calls himself the Pussy King of Dundas Station. And he talks about his life, and about 2/3 of the way through this talk, I interfere, put up my hand, and say to him, his name is Jeremiah Stuck, that I don't understand what he's up to. And he then says that he will deliver to me the Gospel of Judas. For those, just as an idle piece of information, those of you who noticed in the last couple of years that they found the Gnostic Gospel of Judas, everybody got excited about the view therein. I wrote this poem in 1977 called Judas Priest. I was the bastard. Call me bad blood Jeremiah Stuck. 5'1" come 4 in elevator shoes. I was the Pussy King of Dundas Station. I held the razor hand, had the dedication of a man fattening frogs for snakes, and I tell you true, I was on the take every night at 9, almost supine with satisfaction, as I checked my action in Lecoq D'Or's saloon and Starvin' Marvin's Stripperama upper room. Then old Stuck got in a jam cut up by Sally Ann, and she took the stand and says, "That's him. Purveyor. There's nowhere you'll send him safe enough. That sucker's Mr. Tough." Well, they stuck me in the loony bin, going to electric shock me back to Dr. Spock and maybe Dr. Dead, which is what they said but never done. Just sat me on my buns in solitary for 3 years. And the walls in that room sweated tears. Makes you think, alone with the deadfall of your own fear, there must be more to human affairs than being belly up in despair. 3 years, friends, 3 in a hole. But I'm back, shifted my gears, and I don't pretend to save your soul, but old Jeremiah Stuck, he's going to lay some strange saving words down, so stick around, it beats potluck. Here's a world of losers and winners, and you know who the sinners are. The poor in their pews. The church is led by those who have the bread, while the priests ration out Christ's compassion, and Jesus is their bagman collecting dues. But that's all a lie. That's bull. Not one apostle in the gospel of good news had any kind of special pull. Jesus died, had himself crucified to wrench a new election out of insurrection. Like when they put that local hooker to the wall, Magdalena, he said, "You got the big time reputations, but when you're dead and making deputations, you'll find thieves on my right hand, out on reprieve. To get my kingdom done, I've come to save the damned, the scum of your society." Old Jeremiah Stuck can tell you, when you reach out, sleepless, for the walls of your hole, and all you touch All you touch is the darkness of your soul. You scrutinize how and why a man dies. Why, when Jesus had him dead to rights, he broke the bread and said, "Eat your fill, Judas. I know who it is you're going to kill." The question is this: why is the kiss the ancient invitation to the abyss? Well, I've come to see what above all Jesus knew, that built into love is betrayal. The cock crowed, Peter cried. He cried, "No, I don't know nothing about that guy. No, sir." Denied him, Peter did, to save his skin, and then went hewling, puking over his sin. But Jesus called that liar his rock, as if the rebuke and the blessing were one. Not James, not John, not Luke, but the guy who fled, vilified, was in the end Peter Pontiff, sanctified. So it is those who've done the worst, the last they shall be first. I held up my hand. I said, "Hold on, my man, old pimp, preacher, whoever the hell you are. I already gone too far, already been wiped clean, right off the salvation slate, unable to forgive myself more than my enemies. Been down in my own black hole, my soul." "Well," said Stuck, "in that case, I'm going to tell you the Judas gospel. Like his Lord, not in hatred, but in love, he hung himself dead." Now, what you know about Judas is he was the juice man, taking care of business. But see, you got to ask how he saw his appointed task. Because he was the boss man, beside him, sipping wine, he was also the eye in the sky, divine. Who knows what we all up to, himself included. But the genius of Judas perceived the applied logic that had eluded the priestly pedagogic, who couldn't believe God would take two legs, let alone save the dregs by doing a suicide, that his benevolent intention was our subsequent redemption since back before man's invention. But to die, yes, to die he needed some fully aware fall guy who'd shoulder the sin of sacrifice, who'd come on as the reprobate, with all appropriate device and signification for the sacrifice, like silver coin, the kiss, intermittent ejaculation of the law, because he foresaw that double dealing dealt his life new meaning. That once he had his own hide hung in perfect imitation of God's begotten Son, that he and Jesus would be one. There would be one, and that is what he'd done for you and me. Shared this complicity in death. So we do draw today deliverant breath. That's why old Stuck has come undone. He's come undone free and telling you the essence of all. Be not mendacity, but complicity. For if Judas and Jesus are one, if by betrayal the beautiful is begun, then not only Judas be in you, but Jesus too, you wear his face no matter
the preacher man, Barry Callaghan.